Okay, so welcome. Sorry about changing the Zoom link at the last moment, but I'm glad that everybody's here. So we were really just looking, look, it's become apparent that in order to study the Mittler Rebbe's chapter 1, you need to be really familiar with Reb Hillel's version of chapter 1. That's really the whole point. What Reb Hillel did was that he gives us all the background knowledge we need to know in order to understand the Mittler Rebbe, meaning that the Mittler Rebbe is assuming an enormous knowledge base. And so Reb Hillel wrote this view or this explanation. It's not as an explanation so much as it's giving us the knowledge we need in order to be able to access the Mittler Rebbe at all. So now, people wanted to go and study the Mittler Rebbe, or there was, a sense that we should go and study the original. And in some ways, we see that, if you don't do Eon into Reb Hillel, we don't remember the details. And so then it becomes difficult to access the Mittler Rebbe without Reb Hillel. And maybe that is what we can learn from this process. That then you realize by reading the Mittler Rebbe what you know and what you don't know from studying Reb Hillel. Now, really, the Mittler Rebbe he doesn't mention, we were just off camera, we were talking about Bina Liba, and Reb Hillel actually doesn't talk about, the Mittler Rebbe doesn't talk about Bina Liba at all in his chapter 1. He only takes us up to the point of approximately paragraph 14 in Reb Hillel. And then Reb Hillel talks about Bina Liba, and I'm not sure exactly why he put it in there. Maybe later in the Mittler Rebbe it comes up, and he felt that it was a good time to put it all together. So I'm really not sure. But so last week I gave you a worksheet to do, and the worksheet basically what I felt was that people needed to have a basic working knowledge of certain terminology in order to understand the Mittler Rebbe. And that's all the worksheet was, is just saying, okay, this is the terminology that you need to know. This is the basic map that you need to have in order to access the Mittler Rebbe's Torah. So it's kind of really assuming that you don't, that you're not doing the Eon, but saying, you know what, even if you're not doing the Eon, this is the basic information that you should remember from chapter 1. So I just want to get a sense from people, like, if you did the worksheet, you didn't do the worksheet. First of all, let's see, who did the worksheet? Okay.
I did it, but didn't finish it.
Okay. Where did you get to, Nechama?
Let me see. I think up to Koch HaMaskil. And well, I skipped, and I also did some of the, I did the Omek, Rechav, and Orech of Chachma. I think I skipped Hamakas Hadas.
Okay.
But yeah, my problem is that I habitually review this on Shabbos afternoon when I can't write. So I see now that writing is an important part of retaining it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it is an important part of it. Like just to write it down for yourself. It's, it's a good thing to be reviewing on Shabbat, because, that's like a set time when you can do it. All right. So what I had really wanted to do was put you in breakout rooms so that you could just review it with each other rather than, I don't particularly feel that I should give you the answers. But I know Sarah's driving. Okay, and I don't know if that's going to work. People are really, okay, maybe we'll just take a look at the worksheet and we'll see where we are. So I'm going to share the worksheet. Okay. So, okay, I'm just looking at the messages. All right. Okay, so let's have a look here. And I want, we'll do this like as if we're in a breakout room. So,
excuse me, what is the phone password? Phone in password?
Well, here you are. So you got
No,
it.
I can't, but I know, but I have to leave the house and I'm going to lose the call.
It's 770.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, and the whatever, I'll look on the information to see what okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, so Chochmah, where is it located in the human body? So
In the brain, the
But
right
where-
brain, right
the
brain.
right brain. Okay. And what are Hebrew code words for Chochmah?
Haskalah?
Haskalah. Nachon. Wherever you see Haskalah, because that is something that very often later in the text, he won't say Chochmah, but he'll say Haskalah, or Haskalat Etzem Ha'inyan, which is like the phrase.
And
Haskalat,
does Haskalah translate as intellect?
no, Seichel is usually intellect. Haskalah usually translates as like concept. I mean, it's very difficult to translate these things, which is why, in that new translation that I did, you start to just use the word. It's like, we got used to saying Chochmah Bina Dat. We don't translate it as wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, because they don't really encapsulate what Chochmah is or what Bina is. So, after a while, there's certain Hebrew terminology that we should just begin to use. That's my perception, because then you'll begin to feel the resonance of what it is. Because what does concept mean in English? Not that much. Do you hear what I'm saying, Nechama?
Yeah.
Okay, but that's why I think the Hebrew code words are important. Miriam, you want to say something? But you need to unmute yourself.
I'm hearing you. I'm not going to interrupt at the moment.
Oh, okay. Okay, and what is Chochmah in your own understanding?
You're asking?
Yeah, like what is the right brain experience?
It's a form of intellectual perception, intuitive understanding, accessing deep truths, it's insights, unmediated by language or conceptual framework.
Okay. Okay, so that, you know, we could say, what is the difference between Chochmah and Bina? And one of the things that you've touched on there, Miriam, is that it doesn't have language associated with it. Nechama, how would
Yeah, I mean, I just put what it said in the text, perception of essence without the osius, without the details. So I guess what stands out is what it doesn't have. It's like a very general conception of an idea, but it's not differentiated. It's not, doesn't give you a clear picture. So again, the way I learned this here, it's sort of a lot what it's missing, that it's missing the Bina part. It's missing the ability to explain and describe and go into the details. So
Okay. Look,
but it is the initiation, the energy, the initiation of a new idea, which I
Right.
guess that's what comes from Koch HaMaskil, I believe.
right.
Mhm.
Okay. So
I
probably, yeah.
I love the idea of, I actually thought the code word was koach ma, and that made so much sense to me because it somehow is more meaningful than the idea of a concept. It's like, yeah, but anyway.
Right. Okay. So that's from Tanya. Says the word chokhmah, you can rearrange it to say it's koach ma, the power of what? Like, where does it come from? And that sense, because it flashes in. You know, we spoke about that that flash of lightning. You know, that flash of an idea. For me, that's what describes Chochmah in the best ways, when you have that flash of insight and you see it, just like the lightning that lights up the whole environment, and then it's gone. Then it's dark again. It's a flash.
Mm.
Unless you bring it down into Bina, you lose it. At the time, you understand it so well, but it's not an understanding yet. It's more, you see it. And Chochmah is associated with seeing, and Bina is associated with hearing. So you see it, but you can't grasp it yet. And you can't, as he talks about, you can't share it with somebody. Can't tell them what you saw because you don't know the details yet. All right.
So I thought it's interesting that you took the ma to mean where is it coming from? And I was thinking of where is it going to? It's like it's the ma to me means what? Like it's open for development.
Yes, and probably you're right. And
Well, it's both probably.
both of them, yeah. Okay, so let's move on. So we do have, what I want to make sure is that you have an experiential understanding of these things, not just like an idea of it. It's inside of you. It's in your head. It's your chokhmah is your right brain. It's that place where you do get a flash of inspiration, and unless you like catch it and put it into words and understanding and details, it's going to fly away. Okay, so what is the mashal for chokhmah?
It's the building, right? Seeing a beautiful building.
That's an example.
Uh-huh.
What is the mashal? Okay, let's go to Bina. And we'll come back to that because they work together. So where is Bina located in the human body?
The left brain.
So Bina is in the left brain. And what are Hebrew code words for Bina?
It's Havana.
Right, understanding. Okay, the other one is hasaga, which means to grasp. It's like once it's in Bina, you really can grasp it. You can tie it down. You can explain it. Okay, so those are the two main ones, I think, Habana and hasaga. What is Bina in your own words or understanding? Somebody else wants to, or it's just Miriam and Nechama? It's okay. Nechama, what is Bina to you?
Well, I'm going to read what I wrote, and then it's
Okay.
the perception and understanding of the essence of the matter with the details, which are the osios, so that you can describe it, the full picture, to another person. So I kind of picture it a little bit like, when if you have an outline of a picture, but when it's all filled in, then you have the full understanding. So it's, yeah, it's just a full understanding. So in a way that you can teach it, you can relate it, you can describe it to a person who has no idea what it is.
Right. Who wasn't there and who doesn't know. Yeah. Good. Miriam, you want to add something to that, or that's similar to you? You can stay unmuted, Miriam. Miriam, you're muted. Just stay unmuted. Yeah.
Okay, personally, I would have imagined that it's a stage before bringing it into words. It's a place of the ability to discern. It's like the awareness that there is the potential, or not potential actually, the ability to use one's intellect to discern. It hasn't yet reached a point of putting things into words, or it's a more subtle kind of aspect of the intellect of perception. Is that not a good example? I mean,
I think it's correct. In the first paragraph, he talks about it as being the ability to discern between truth and not truth, between, good and bad. But here, when we talk about Bina, it's still in the brain. So we're not talking about actual words. We're not talk about the spoken word. We're talking about letters, the otiot. So they're really the letters of thought. But they are already words. The letters of thought are how you speak to yourself.
okay.
How
So
you
if
think.
that's correct, then what I described was a little bit ahead of that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so you're both picking up something there. Yeah, it is before speech, but in order to be able to speak it out to somebody else, he used that example. He said, there's this beautiful house, and it's only when you put it into your Bina brain and describe that beauty in words that you're able to then articulate it to somebody. So there has to be Bina before there's the actual speech. So, yes, it's good to distinguish between the fact that obviously speech is coming from the brain, but we say that speech is malchut. It's coming out into the world. But without Bina, without that process of taking the chokhmah over to the Bina brain, you're never going to be able to share it with somebody else, because you just don't know. You'll say to somebody, you had to have been there. It was just amazing. I can't explain it to you. How many times have we said that to somebody? Like, you have to see it for yourself, or
So that's the state, that's Bina?
so not being able to express it is a lack of Bina. It means that you just understood it, experienced it in your Chokhmah brain. You didn't bring it down into otiot, into details.
So it sounds like with Bina, you know you have something that you want to share with someone. Say you want to share or describe to someone, but you haven't yet, your brain hasn't gotten to the point of finding the words to do that. But you know it's something that can be given over. Whereas with Chachma, like it's just it's not there yet. Is that?
Oh, look, he gave an example. He gave a very good example. You see a beautiful building, you know, you still see a beautiful house. And then you go back home and you want to, you know, share it with somebody. You say like, wow, I saw this gorgeous house. And they say, okay, so tell me about it. And you're like, and why? Because you saw it in passing. You didn't sit and think to yourself, like, look at all the details and see why it's beautiful. The Bina takes the Chochmah, that Chochmah experience, and encloses it with explanations and reasons. And so it's not the experience itself, but it's an explanation of that experience of Chochmah. So it seems like it's a lower level. So, you know, you need to stop and look in detail at the house and say, oh, okay, it's beautiful because, wow, it's got 2 stories and the colors of the roof match the color of this and that. You know, like you start to understand for yourself the reason for the beauty. And really what you describe to somebody is the reason for the beauty, and that's the Bina. All right, you know, this is, we endlessly going back over, but look, this is the process until you really, you know, you grasp it. You know, this is the Yun process. Okay, so what was the mashal for Bina? Bina, by the way, Bina is where we spend most of our lives. It's rational, it's reasons, it's explanations. What was the mashal for Bina? Bina was likened to what?
Is that the rub and the egg?
No, those were examples. And a mashal is something different. An example is like telling you how that can be experienced. A mashal is it's a completely different level of garment for the idea. It tells you about something completely different and says they're parallels. It helps you to see it in parallel. What's a mashal that you know of? An analogy. All right. So
Somebody mentioned already about the building, and you brought it up, and you said that wasn't the mashal. Did I hear right?
That's an example. A mashal is something that's completely, seemingly unrelated. Like it's not an explanation or an example. A mashal is something. It's something, he calls it like davar zar. It's something completely that seems unrelated, but helps you to understand the thing itself. So I'm trying to think of an example of an analogy.
And it was offered in the text. There was a mashal.
So yes.
In these first 2 paragraphs, when it explains Chachma Bina, there was a mashal.
No, not in the first 2 paragraphs. In the the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th paragraphs, he gave a mashal for Chachma and Bina. First of all, he just explained what Chachma and Bina is. And then he told us what Oimek, Rochav, and Orach is of each of them. And then gave us a mashal for them so that we would understand it. We would have something, usually a mashal is something that you can envision. It's like something visual. Okay, so let me wait. And that's why, just as
I'm
an,
I'm not talking about the spring, or you are?
yeah, so yes, of course, that's a mashal.
Oh, okay.
That's a mashal. A mashal is
Ah,
an example.
So the earlier, I get the distinction. The earlier ones are examples about the being able to see, to have the atheist to describe the building or not. That's an example, and
Yes.
this is the mushal. Okay.
Right. Okay, so that's a good, you see how what an amazing teacher is. He gives us a concept and a, like an idea, and then he gives us examples so that we know what it is in our daily lives. We know what it is in our experience. But then he wants us to go deeper.
Let
And
me ask you, does the Mittler Rebbe also provide these examples, or this is only Rebbe Hillel adds?
no, actually in chapter 1, the Mitzvah Rebbe mentions these two mashalim for Chochmah and Bina, because they're very, very well known and used a lot in Chassidut. Like it's known that Chochmah is a spring and Bina is
The river.
the river. Okay. So now, okay, now it's coming back. Okay. All right. So now let's trace it. I'm going to skip Das for the moment because I want to go to Koach HaMaskil so that we stay with this idea.
So
So
that's interesting. The river flows. So Bina is like motion. It goes somewhere. The spring stays in one place.
yes, yes.
Spring is the source.
And
Mhm.
and now that you've said that, Nechama, how does that help you? This is the power of a mashal. How does that help you to understand Chochmah and Bina? From what you said.
You mean in relation to each other?
Yes.
Well, the river is dependent on its source,
Mhm.
but yeah, I missed a class a couple of weeks ago to go kayaking, so I was thinking about that. The river can be low, can be very shallow, can dry up, but I don't know if you ever hear of a spring drying up. And the spring is deeper into the earth. So that's just what I think of. The source is more stable, and the river can be it can express itself in a variety of ways.
Okay. That all of these things that you're saying are very good mashalim for Bina. Bina can express itself in many various ways. It can
And
express, yeah.
it can receive additional flow of water from other sources as well, from other rivers or rain, or that would add to its momentum and its volume. So it's not only relying on the source.
Right,
Okay,
that's a good point. The rain is, so it receives from above and below.
okay. So
Yeah.
I'm not, like not all details of a mashal work, which is why you have different. I'm not sure about the rain part. It may
Okay.
work, but I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't go with that. But one of the things, Nechama, you said is that the Chochmah doesn't move so much, but the Bina, takes you far away from the source. Bina travels. And what does that mean in the Nimshal, like in Bina itself? Just what we said earlier. Yeah, Miriam.
No, it allows one to connect to various other concepts, and yeah, it spreads out.
Okay, so spreads out means, okay, I'll just say it. Basically, Bina you can go to the Orech of Bina, which means that you can take the concept and explain it to a small child. Like it can go very far from its source, meaning you can share it with somebody. The water can be shared with other people who are far from the original source. You can tell it to people, you can give mashalim for it. You know, you can really share it. That's basically what Bina does, is it takes a Chochmah experience, which is coming from very high up, and it brings it down so that it's shareable. Okay. Where are we? Okay, so we're going to go to Koach HaMaskil. So where's Koach HaMaskil located in the human body?
In the soft tissue.
Don't guess. Either you know or you don't know.
It's in the membrane between the brain and the skull.
It's above the membrane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a membrane that surrounds the Chabad brains. We have the right, you know, the three parts of the brain, and the membrane like surrounds them. And between the membrane and the skull, there's a space. And that's the Koach HaMaskil. So
It's referred to as the spiritual moisture of the brain.
right. So it's also called, interestingly, it's called Moach Stima. It's the hidden brain. So it's really considered still part of the brain, but it's not the conscious brain. Even though for most of us, Chochmah doesn't feel so conscious. But there is like a flash. There is, you know, it's the first place where it becomes known to us. So this is this hidden brain. Okay. So it's important to, you know, have this picture in your head of right brain, left brain, and then above the brain and the skull. It's not even like you have to use your imagination so much. It's just you. It's, you know, this is the amazing thing, is that we are the mashal for, you know, for this process. Okay, so what is Koach HaMaskil in your own words or understanding?
It's the source from which Chochmah is generated, or is it's from where our Chochmah originates.
Absolutely. And how would you describe the quality of it? Even though, you know, it's hard to describe, but just say whatever you can.
Abstract. It's the most what would you call it? Intangible or spiritual, ethereal, complex, mysterious, all those things.
Okay, good.
And it comes from Atmos, I believe, and because of that, it's unlimited. So it requires Timsum, Bittul, or Timsum, Bittul for Timsum to come down into Chachma, into the brain.
So believable what you said now. That would be a good word to describe, right?
So
yes, sounds good.
Sarah Ginsburg is saying that it's endless. So the one thing that I want to like put a boundary on is that it's not infinite. It's because it's, you know, it's still within the brain and it's within the skull. It's an endless possibility.
So Koach HaYuli.
It's a Koach HaYuli, which is that Greek word for endless possibility, but of maskil. It's the Koach HaMaskil. So it's not just like infinity, it's infinite maskil.
I see. Okay, that's a nice distinction.
So it's confusing if, again, with the English words. You said it has endless possibility, and infinity means endless, but you're saying limited endless.
No, so I'm saying that, you know, when we say that something is infinite, like true infinity. So for example, was it you, Nechama, if you said it comes from Atzmos?
Hmm.
He never said that. I never saw that anywhere. So I don't know where you're getting that from.
I saw something, okay. Yeah.
Everything ultimately comes from Atzmos, but now we're looking at the way that it comes down.
1 second, because it does use the term Hanachas Atzmusai.
Okay.
I did get that somewhere from the text, but I wasn't quoting it. It was
So-
the idea.
Sometimes, you're talking about Atzmut itself, or you're talking about Atzmut as the essence of something. So I'm not sure. I would have to look at the text.
Yeah,
And
but it's not.
So the concept that was related to me was that it, in whatever form it comes down, it has to be limited. It needs symptom
yes,
and bittul in order to come down. It would be too much for the brain. The brain would explode if it didn't have that filter.
Mhm.
no, 100 it's like this endless possibility of concepts.
Mhm.
But that's what I'm saying. It's still koach hamaskil. It's endless possibility of concepts, and then you have to bring down one. You
Yeah.
have to one.
Just
But
Yeah, it says there needs to be a contraction, symptom of the light of the koach hamaskil, because it has a limitless ability, which is what you said, that's
Yeah.
koach hiyuli, to conceptualize without measure. Therefore, symptom is necessary, which requires reducing oneself in order to conceptualize one particular idea. And then it talks about, the kind of honing in the ego in order to do that.
yes. Okay, so absolutely, that's what happens. Yeah. There's no way, you have to bring it down to one, the endless possibilities. Often we encounter, like, you have to give a class, the endless possibilities, what you could give the class about. You have to choose one thing and focus on one thing. So that's that process. Okay, so we have a basic idea, I think, of what the koach
You know
hamaskil.
what? I think I came across something like that yesterday. We used the word believable in yesterday's Tanya. Try to remember. It says Chanan Hamabelis Lech. The Eibishter has an infinite possibility to forgive. However, when you say that, we do not have endless possibilities of asking because we are limited. So it was using the word limitless, but it had specific applications where you're using it.
Right.
It's not a vacuum of nothing and here's Atmos. It's in this application of maskil, you have limitlessness in that aspect. And it's very interesting differentiation here.
Yes, exactly. It's very important to differentiate. So now the mashal, we have the mashal of Chochmah being the spring and Bina is the river. So what was the mashal for koach hamaskil?
I'm waiting to see what others say before I speak up.
You want to give other people?
So I think it's the Tehom, no?
Okay. So first of all, you're correct. There's the Tohom, and there are two parts to the koach hamaskil. The one part is the Tohom, which is the underground aquifer. And how do you get from the underground aquifer to the spring, to the Chochmah?
With the pipes, the Gidim.
The veins that come up through the earth. Okay.
The arteries.
So now we have a full picture, right? We have this koach hamaskil, which is this vast underground source of water. And it comes up through these Gidim and it breaks through to the above the earth. And once it's above the earth, the moment you can see it, as it were, that is already Chochmah. That's the spring. The spring is the moment it becomes visible. That's the mashal. So that spring is the Chochmah. The Chochmah skill, those two parts of the Chochmah skill. So what I want to, what I want to say to you is like, he's giving you this image from nature. So you have this image from nature and you have them, the images in your head. And now you should never have to, you never have to forget this because it's inside of you. And if you forget it, you also have this, image from nature of this deep wellspring coming through the earth and the springs of water in this river. And certainly if you ever go out into nature and experience that, so he's really, the images are speaking. Why the mashal is so powerful is because it's actually speaking to your right brain. Our right brain responds to images, and we should be able to remember it. Even if we forget the concept, you can remember the image, and the image can lead you back to an understanding of the concept. All right. So then we kind of want to pause there and just kind of let that sink in.
Yeah.
Did we skip Das?
Oh, Neria, I'm sorry, I was muted. I didn't hear the last thing you said. And I didn't realize you didn't hear my question because I was muted. Because I thought you were responding to me. Because I was asking, we revisit the mushal of the river in paragraph 8. And so what is added here with Bina, and how does it fit into the same mushal?
What you're saying? Why? Look, this is not in paragraphs. I'm conflating things and saying, I'm assuming you read the whole of chapter 1. So I'm not sure what your question.
Don't make too many assumptions, but
No, this is the third time we're going through it.
Yeah. So, but you included Bina already. They said Chachma. Did you include Bina in the analogy of the spring?
No, so perhaps you joined late. We first spoke about Chochmah, and people didn't know what the mashal for Chochmah was. So we went to Bina, and then we remembered that Bina was the river, and so we went back.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay.
So the river comes from the spring, and this spring comes from the underground aquifer.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
So now we have a whole picture. Okay. Now, what about Das? Das, where is Das located in the human body, actually?
At the back, is it the back brain?
Yeah. It's the third brain, which is like the back brain.
Is it not executive function? Is it not prefrontal cortex?
No.
That's a good point. One would think that it would be related to the prefrontal cortex.
Why?
Because I just think of that as the human brain.
Because it's connected with depth.
But that's the rational brain. The rational brain is, but is that distinct from the brain stem? Because the brain stem is pretty much involuntary.
So, I think in general that we don't necessarily want to exactly say, science.
I don't think you want to pin this down biologically, no.
Exactly.
You just mean that there's 3 brains, and it doesn't mean that it's lower at all.
No, so when you say prefrontal cortex, that is the way science is breaking up the brain.
Uh-huh.
Specific things. If you tell me, I mean, just offhand, what is the function of the prefrontal cortex? And then tell me what is the function of das, and tell me why you think they're the same.
Well, I know, like in science, the way I've learned it is that prefrontal cortex is in contrast to the amygdala, which is like the animal brain. So the prefrontal cortex, like when one has a reaction, a fight or flight response, so it responds, it takes longer time to respond, but once it's there, it can look at the situation logically instead of being just responding with fear or anger or
Right.
that's the way I see it. It's the animal brain and the human brain.
Okay. So
I guess corresponding to Chassidus, which is the animal. Anyway.
well, so these things don't necessarily, you have to be careful how you match them up. And so in general, we're not looking to match them up because, we see that slowly science comes to understand closer to Chassidus rather than the other way around. And also we're learning here, to be honest, this is very derech klal. We haven't gone into details yet. Like you see from chapter 2, it goes into another level of brain, which is the tfuna, which is the emotional part of the brain. So, we have to wait and see. But if you're telling me that you think that das is about the rational understanding, then
No, it's maybe that's more. It's deeper than that.
So what is das? What is a Hebrew code word for das?
Das is connecting and attachment.
Who's
Attachment.
his kashrus?
His kashrut, exactly. So what is rational, like, what do they call it? Prefrontal, like that tells you, like, I forget the words, but what's that got to do with his kashrus?
Well, when you talk about his kashrus and connection, then the question is connecting what to what.
Okay, good.
So it could be there could be a whole range of what it's connecting, but I used to think of das as the connection between intellect and emotion.
Right. So that is das tachton.
Tachton.
Tachton, the lower.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So we don't talk
connecting.
about that. Yeah. So that's how that's up until Shari Yechud, we thought of das as Chochmah, Bina, then das, and then the emotions. And we thought that Bina is connected to the emotions through das. And it's correct. That's das tachton.
Can we simplify das down to connection, glue, or that's too simplistic?
So that's just
It's
what
simply
we did.
connection, the energy of connection. What?
Yeah. Yes, that's what we said. That's the code word for das.
But then it would be like omek, which is really nothing.
Okay, so that's interesting. So now you're starting to you see, when you start to understand, then you have real questions like that. Like, so what you're starting to realize is that wherever you have an omek, you're going to have das.
So again, can we say to make it really simple, if I got it right, das is connection. What it connects to, we'll leave that for later. Das is connection, period. Is that true? And then again, when it connects this to that, is that true? We don't want to get there yet. Is das connection?
Yes.
Yeah, but we are differentiating between the way we have used das.
We didn't get there yet. No, we didn't get there. We didn't get there. No, we first, in other words, if I want to know what is a cucumber, I don't want to know different kinds of cucumbers. I want to get it straight. What is a cucumber? In other words, what is das? If das is connection, now I'm done. Okay. Oh, phew. Okay, das is connection. Then once I really have that, then I want to go into, okay, connecting this to that. We didn't get there yet. I think what Nuri is saying is let's really get the basics so in our bones that, like, before we start and what connects this to that and that to this, is we didn't get there yet. We want to have the basics so down pat that then we can actually start to apply it to here to there to here. This glues that to that. This was, but we
I don't
want
know,
to just, we want to
I
know.
don't know why you're saying that. Right now, we're past knowing what a cucumber is. In other words, cucumber, okay.
Okay, so
We're
what
on the
is
second
das?
stage.
What
We
is
want to
das?
know what this das is about, as opposed to the other
Wait,
das.
but what is das?
Why
But
stepping us back?
first question, what is das? What is das?
You tell me.
It sounds like das is something in between a noun and a verb, but right now it sounds like it's more like a verb because it's the act of connecting. And then we're asking, well, what are you connecting? You're connecting what to what, which that's where free choice comes in. We decide what to connect. Now, what form of das that would be, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if
No,
it's
so
just connecting, you could connect anything to anything.
Right. Connection is not a vacuum word. It's a word that immediately brings something else into the discussion.
Right.
Could I please say
And that
something?
way, it's
In my
different.
experience,
And that way, it's different from a cucumber. A cucumber exists as
Could
a
I just-
cucumber. Das does not exist like a cucumber.
What's interesting is, let me just
But I-
clarify. Let me just clarify. When he introduces das, when Pierre introduces das, he says something very interesting. He says das, first he says what it's not. He says das is not haskalah and it's not havana, meaning he's saying it's not chokhmah and it's not bina. It's not the intellectual process. It's something else. He says it's only his kashrus between them. And that is his definition. And it's very interesting. You can miss it because he's saying that that das has a different quality. And we see that das, as people are talking here very correctly, is that das is like this glue that connects between different things, and it keeps showing up in many different places. Wherever, the way that I have come to understand it is whenever you want to transition from one paradigm to another paradigm, or you could say from one world, one way of functioning to a completely different way of functioning, you're going to need das to make a connection between those two things. And you're also going to need an omek as a kind of opening between those things. So, the first place that we see, we have two levels of das elyon, because we need to transition from koach hamaskil, which is one paradigm, this endless possibility of maskil, to chokhmah, which is another world. It's a different paradigm. It's not hidden, it's revealed. So between those two things, you're going to need an omek and you're going to need das. And then from chokhmah to bina is also like different worlds. It's a place where there's no letters to suddenly there's letters and explanations. They're different modalities. And then from bina into the emotions, we're not dealing with this, but those are also two different worlds, two different ways of functioning. So we see that there's das between, whenever there's this transition between worlds or paradigms or ways of being, you need something to connect them. Otherwise, sometimes I think about it, it's like, how do we go from galut to geula? They're completely different paradigms. Maybe we're going to need das, but that's an example of different paradigms. You're living. So we have these three different paradigms in, that we're dealing with: koach hamaskil, chokhmah, and bina, and we need das to connect them. Das elyon.
But you're not giving us three different kind of das. You're telling us that das connects these three things, no?
Yes.
Right.
And we give them different names. So the das that connects chokhmah to bina, what is that called?
Omek.
Das elyon.
It's to reach up to koach hamaskil.
No.
Das
Okay,
Das
let's
is-
start again. There are Das Elyon has two levels. What is the name of those two kinds of das?
There's two levels. Oh,
It's not
Tachton.
Omek of Bina.
So oimek is something
Oh.
different. We're talking about das. Oimek is not das.
Da, Tachton.
So
The
here,
upper and the
I only know
lower.
of the
The
one.
upper knowledge and the lower knowledge. The
all right.
You're
So
activating. I wonder if
is
you're activating
Makat.
Koyach HaMaskil. That's one of them.
Machamatskil is not das.
Huh?
Makat Hadat. No, that's the bonding.
Again, what?
Yeah, very
And
good.
the
It's bonding, right?
Mamek
Well, you have. I mean, you have Oimek
Hadat.
of Das and you have Reichav of Das and you have Oich of Das. Well, you're not talking about that, right?
No, I'm not talking.
Makat Hadas
Huh?
and Mamek Hadat.
Oh, is it Chush? No. I'm just guessing.
I'm sorry. So, what do you say? You're saying there's two levels, in Das Elyon.
Yes.
So, is it Reichav and Oich?
No.
Makat.
Okay, Miriam, I'm going to ask you to be quiet for a moment so people can figure it out. Okay. There are two levels of Das Elyon. They have a name. Each one has a name. One of them connects between Chochmah and Bina, and the other one connects between Koach HaMaskil and Chochmah. What are the names of those two
Are you
Das?
talking about Iyun?
Giti, what is Iyun?
Iyun comes through Das, and it takes you up.
No. Iyun is Bina of Bina. Iyun begins Bina of Bina. It's got nothing to do with Das.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me. Appreciate that.
Okay.
And it's not Hamakat Hadas.
It is Hamakas Das.
That was just a wild guess. So
No, but we said already Amokas Hadas. Oh,
Good.
oh no, we didn't. Oh, we didn't use that word.
No, the oimek of das is different than hamakas das. I mean, it's not exactly, but we're giving it a name.
So
The,
Hamakas Hadas is the process of taking your Bina and your Chachma and bringing it up to activate the Koyach HaMaskil. No? Oh, yes.
so hamakas das, here it is on the questionnaire. Hamakas das connects between what and what?
Chochman Bina.
Chachma, Bina, and Koyach HaMaskil.
No,
just
hamakas das connects between what and what? They have to be next to each other. To be
Okay, so Chachma and Bina.
okay, so now tell it to yourself so that you don't forget it.
And the other one is that it connects it up to Koyach HaMaskil. So there's two levels. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh.
There are two levels of Das Elyon.
Uh-huh.
One is called Hamakas Das, and it connects between Chochmah and Bina. That's the lower one. Ma'amek, what is the role of Ma'amek?
Mamik is where it gets to the Koyach HaMaskil.
Right.
You're right. You know what? We know that.
So what's the order then? Is there an order, like what comes first and what comes second, or not necessarily?
Okay, so Nechama, answer that question yourself. If you mashpia, which comes first? And if you makabel, which one comes first?
The Mekabel comes first.
No. You're asking which comes first, Hamakas Hadas or Mamek, right?
Okay.
Is that your question?
And Kocham, and also those three, Koach HaMaskil, Hamakas Hadas, and Mamek. I'm just, there's an order that you put it on the worksheet, and I don't know.
I'm mixing them up on the worksheet. I'm not
Yeah,
this
okay.
not
Okay.
instruction. You know, there was a point at like paragraph 11 or something where he showed us up to down. Like this, you know, you should know is the mashpia starts with in the koach hamaskil, maimek, right? So, you know, all of the things that are above chokhmah and goes into through the oimek of chokhmah to the rochav of chokhmah to the orech of chokhmah and across amakas adas to the oimek of bina to the rochav of bina to bina of bina, which is where he brings things with mashalim and explanations to the makabel. Then the makabel starts at bina of bina, which is the place of iyun, and works back up through the system, the opposite, you know, the opposite way.
And it's really very logical because it's like climbing a building and you're climbing up from one floor to the other. What are you going to reach first? If you're on the bottom floor, what are you going to reach next? You're going to reach the floor right above it. And you're not going to get to the third floor or above if you didn't get to the second floor. So Chachma Bina is going to be the next logical stage that you're accessing. And Koach HaMaskil is already the third floor. You didn't access that only and the third and the next stage. So it's going to be obviously in that order if you're coming from below as a makabel. And if you're coming with mashpia, then you're coming from the top down. So you're going to go from the third to the second.
Yeah, it's very, very logical. There's nothing complicated about it.
It would help if I don't know what the word makas means. That would help.
Okay.
And is that related to mimic? Are they two different words?
Which ha'amokas with the ayin?
You know, I'm looking at I'm not looking at the Hebrew. I'm looking at it's transliterated. So what does hamakas mean?
Look at the word. Basically, all of these words, hamakat, contains within it the word oimek, or the depth of dots, or the oimek.
And mimic also.
So maimek, we learned that it's with the mem at the beginning tells you that it's in the active tense, which means that you activate something. Because
so these are all like kind of transitional words, because I think of mimic as an activator, as just an instigator, an activator, something to get what do you call it in chemistry? There's a word for it, but it's an ingredient that's there to get the everything else moving.
Right.
The word is catalyst.
Catalyst, right? Like it's just like yeast.
Wait a minute. Which is the word that activator applies more to mimic or hamakas adas?
What? Sorry, what did you say, Gitty?
The word activator will apply more to hamakas adas rather than to mimic, or am I wrong?
No, you're incorrect.
I'm incorrect?
You're incorrect.
So you can use it for both.
No, mimic actually activates the koach hamaskil to bring shefa through the oimek of chokhmah.
Oh, so it's mimic. Oh, okay.
It's lashon mafil.
Okay, and hamakas adas is the shuttle.
Yeah.
The bridge, the shuttle. Okay.
Bridges between the two of them.
So it's
stop this share.
Mimic comes before hamakas adas.
Okay, so I'm going to share something that we shared. We actually did this as an exercise. Look, you know, there's up to down and there's down to up. You're seeing this now? The teacher goes from above to below, and the student goes from below to above. This
seems like the least complicated thing to really, because it's just a logical hierarchy.
Yeah. So this is why it's a little bit confusing to me. I mean, I know that it's not simple, but actually it's not so hard. And also there are not that many terms. There may be 10 new concepts here. They're just words. They're 10 new words, and we've been doing this for 2 years. And they still seem foreign to to you guys. So that's something to think about. I'm not sure why.
We are in foreign territory, and that's why. It reminds me of like I was a girl, and I didn't like to cook. And my mother was busy running a business, and every Friday she told me 4 vegetables to make ready to put into the chicken soup so I can go home and take care of that. And every Friday I had to ask her again, what do you put into the soup? Because I could care less about cooking. And it just didn't mean anything. It was immediately after it evaporated, it was gone. The next Friday it was all brand new again. It's like it was out of my realm.
Okay, but Gitti, you said something very important. You said you couldn't care less.
You didn't have the chush.
No, it's you
Right,
didn't.
right.
didn't have the right
Exactly. When the Chama said I didn't have the chush, and the chush is what would have connected it to make it much more pertinent as a. They didn't have the chush. Now, do we have the chush? Yeah.
Gitti, I'm going to stop you there. It's not so much the chush that you didn't have a desire for it. It wasn't important to you. Now tell me that, I mean, I was at your house many times for Shabbat. Thank you very much. And whether you have a chush for cooking became irrelevant. I don't know if you do or you don't, but you produced, a magnificent table of very delicious foods.
Right.
So it became something that was important to you, whether you had a chush for it or
Right.
not.
That is so funny. That's so true. Right. At one point, it became very relevant, right? Because it was of immediate need, and it superseded other chushim that I had, like reading and other things that I wanted to do. So,
Right.
So it didn't
And-
matter
But
why.
A chush is not a talent. A chush is a connection to the desire for it.
Right.
which means I had it all along, but I just told you it wasn't plugged into that channel.
Yeah, but also because, if you're talking about ratzon, but what is before ratzon is oneg. You put importance onto something for you. You weren't connected to anything with those vegetables for your mother, but, for whatever reason, you felt that having guests was important, that you got pleasure out of it, whether it was spiritual pleasure or physical pleasure. And so that generates a ratzon, which generates, etc.
Actually, I have another point to make here, and I think you're going to like this point. At that time, I always had my mother to fall back on. I didn't own it. It was like that was, I think, the crux of the issue. I could always come back to her, like whatever you told me, I did it. It wasn't mine. And when I was running my own house, it became mine. And this is what you keep telling us. If you don't make it yours, if I don't own it as mine, then I just keep coming back and say, well, Neria and Mila, they're going to tell us. So I could just it filters through me. I hear and this, but I didn't own it.
Look, the thing is, we've come to, this is basically why I've for years told, Mila, I wasn't prepared to teach this, because the Eon process is required in order to really get it, to make it your own. You start off here this is the student, we're going down to up. You start off at the Orech of Bina or Bina of Bina, and then you climb your way up. I mean, we did it down here, but, then you broaden it. And then you get to the Oimek of Bina, or the Oimek Musag. And then you get to Hamak HaSadas, and then you're in Chochmah. Orech Rochav Oimek of Chochmah. Then you're in the Koach HaMaskil, and then, you're touching the Maimek. And somewhere along here in this process, you get to a point where you know it so well, there's a lot of repetition. In order to own anything, if you've ever learned a musical instrument, or if you're a painter or a dancer, or, anything that you get to do really well, there's that process of repetition that is just needed in order to make it your own. In order to be a good dancer, you have to really do a lot of practicing that has nothing to do with dance, the dance itself. Or, you know, if you play the piano, you have to learn your scales before you can produce, you know, beautiful music. So that's the Eon process. It just requires a lot of work. And in the beginning, you know, it's quite hard. But when you break through, you really touch the Bina Liba. That's his whole point, is that you touch the pleasure, but you can never touch that unless you know you go through these stages. And it really just means that you know you have to engage. And what can motivate somebody to want to do that? I don't know. You know, it's like Kitty, you say, you know, every week you couldn't care less, but once it became your own home, you had to care because it was yours. So, you know, some people 20 years ago, there were 10 of us who were learning this, and for some reason, we all felt that there was something in this that we wanted so badly that we all put in an enormous amount of effort into it and made it our own. And some people, you know, more than others. And, you know, I think one of the things that the Rebbe wanted to, okay, let me just, where are we? One of the things that the Rebbe wanted every child to know was, and I don't know the Hebrew so well, you know, if somebody says to you, Higati, I tried, velo matzati, don't believe them. If they said, I tried, you know, I put in effort and I didn't find, you don't believe them. If they said, I didn't try and I found the matzati, you also shouldn't believe them. It doesn't happen. But if you say, Higati v'matzati, you should believe them, it's true. Now, what's interesting there is like, first of all, we just think, okay, I tried and I found. But a deeper understanding of that pasuk is, why does it say I tried and I found? Those two things are not related. You should say I tried and I succeeded. Or if you're going to say I found, you should say I searched and I found. Like trying and finding are not related. Do you get that? Did you ever think of that? You know, when you're teaching it to your kids? What's trying got to do with finding?
You find much more than you originally was set out for.
Yeah. Or you put in effort, and what you find, what Hashem brings to you, in some ways can be completely unrelated to the amount of effort or the way of effort. You find something completely unexpected. You don't know what you're looking for in this when you do Eon into this text, and what you find you could never have imagined. Never. And that's the amazing thing about the Eon process, is you put in the effort, you just do the work. And for one person, you know, Yigia, like, you know, 20 years ago, there was an Israeli woman who was part of the group, and her Yigia was going to be so different than mine, because mine was just, I put in so much effort just to translate from the Hebrew to the English. It was so much work for me. That was my Yigia. For her, that wasn't Yigia. It was her language. Her Yigia needed to be something else completely different. But what I found, what I got just by putting in the effort, may have been even more than she got, depending on her effort. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not even where you are on the run. It's just the effort. And it's something very important for kids to know, and for the kid inside of us to know.
And another word besides effort is struggle.
Right. I broke my brain, literally. And what came out was something nobody could have ever imagined, least of all me, which was, these workshops that I created and went to 200 Chabad houses in 5 years, which was, quite unusual. But it was all based on Shara Yichud from the first chapter, like what I understood, and nobody would have seen it, but for me, I understood it, and it enabled me to create something that was really very soundly based on how people's brains are working and how I can work with images and with concepts and transfer a message very, very quickly and very deeply to people. And that was all coming from my Eon into Shara Yichud. And somebody, Shifra Chana Henry, you may know of her, she calls her website Gate of Unity because it's Shara Yichud, everything that she's doing. And she's done a lot of stuff in the last 10 years, is all coming from Shara Yichud.
She was part of your original study group?
Yes.
And Chana Ginsburg also was part of that?
Yes.
Mhm.
And Mila and couple of there, few other people. There were about 10 of us at quite consistently at that point. Yeah. So, I don't know what will, it's just the effort, to put in the effort, and everybody's is different. But here, basically, look, I did this worksheet saying, okay, I give up on the idea that anybody's going to do, not anybody, that everyone's going to do Eon. And I want to tell you, like, these are the basic concepts. Even if you don't do Eon, these are the basic concepts you need to know in order to, really the idea was in order to access the Mittler Rebbe's Torah. But because when we come to the Mittler Rebbe, he's going in what, I don't want to say a disorganized way, but it's more like stream of consciousness. It's not. Then Reb Hillel came and he does the most magnificent work of organizing it and giving it to us slowly. And it's not easy, but piece by piece. And he creates this puzzle of 17 pieces that suddenly you see, there's this picture. This is how, and it's not such a complicated picture. Like I just showed you, there's the journey of the Mashpia from Koach HaMaskil all the way to Bina of Bina. And then there's the journey of the Makabel from Bina of Bina all the way up to the Koach HaMaskil. And that's it. That's the first 14 paragraphs of paragraph 1 of chapter 1.
I see only 12 paragraphs here. Where's the other 2 then?
I haven't translated them into that version. You have the other version.
I see.
I'm in the process, yeah. And then there are 5 other paragraphs which talk about, that go into the realm of Ratzon and of Bina Liba, of Oneg. But the Mitzvah Rebbe doesn't deal with it, so that's why I left it out for now. So, okay.
By the way, I want to say that I really appreciate your translation. It flows so much better than the text.
Yeah, that's really good. Excellent, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't do it earlier because I saw the problem, of the English text. Basically, the problem with that English text is that it translates the code words into English.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you have to keep the code words because the code words are our markers. And we just want to know like how everything flows between them. But
Right.
we need to just hold the code words, even if we don't really understand them, because we need to know basically what is Chachma, what is Bina, what is a Makasadas, what is Maimek. But you don't want to start translating them because those are code words. It's like, the 10 Sfirot. You don't want to say wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. It just doesn't mean anything.
Right. Like I found, just going back to the translation of knowledge and das, it could be very confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's well, it's Lashon Kodesh.
Right, so that's why we have to, that's why they're basically 10 terms that you need to learn in Hebrew,
Mhm.
what they are and where they are. And this is what I'm, doing here. So let's just, seeing we're here, let's just continue. And then we've really completed the basics of paragraph 1. So, Oimek Rochav and Orech of Chochma, Oimek Rochav and Orech of Bina. So just tell me, the easiest way to think about it is, first of all, you have to know these terms, Oimek Rochav Orech. Because once again, say depth, width, and length. Width and length, they work quite well. The Oimek is something else. To say that it's depth, I think doesn't really do it justice. It's a concept. It's Oimek, it's
It's, isn't it the corner,
Points.
like that, the
The
limit
point.
space?
right. So the Oimek, he gave a whole paragraph just to try and give us this concept of what is an Omek, and he gave 3 mashalim for them, for what is an Omek. And one of them was the corner. Okay, so what I'm gonna give you the way that I understand Omek, Rochav, and Orech. That might be useful.
But you didn't challenge us yet to come up with it.
Okay, good. Rather challenge yourselves. You know what? Let's just follow this. What is the Oimek of Chochma?
Of
Bittul. Is it bittul?
Bittul of what to what?
Oh,
Don't guess. It's something you should know.
I mean, I just think of bittul is like not subduing, of going beyond the ego. But maybe that's not what you're looking for.
It's not what you're looking for, Nachama.
well, it's always putting aside, but
Because I feel like bittul is there from the very beginning, like in the Shema, in the first paragraph. There's the, any kind of listening, deep listening requires bittul.
So let me ask you this. Let's forget about the Oimek of Chochma. What is the Rochav of Chochma? There's a very, very clear definition of what is the Rochav of Chochma that you should all know.
The flow of the revealed intellect from the source.
Okay, and what is that? How does that manifest?
what was the question you just asked now?
What is the Rochav of Chochma?
Okay. By the way, going back to the bittul, it's bittul between itself and koyach hamaskil.
Okay. Say that a little bit more clearly. So now you're going back to the Oimek of Chochma. I was going to skip it and let's see, go to the Rochav. But Gitti, say that more clearly.
That's a challenge. It's the makabels putting oneself aside to access what is higher than oneself and from koyach hamaskil.
All right, you know what, let's put it aside for a moment. I want to know, what is the Rochav of Chochma? What happens in the Rochav of Chochma?
Well, if it's the source is the spring, and the Rochav is the river, then it's
No, the Rochav is not the river. We're talking about the Rochav of Chochmah, not the Rochav of Bina.
Of Bina, okay.
Actual flow
The flow, okay.
of the revealed intellect.
It's
From
bringing
source.
it inside. The first one was tapping into something higher to bring it to make it available to bring it in. But this is not a revelation. Can't use revelation, right?
So you all
Revealed
kind of getting
intellect.
the right feel for it. Miriam, Gitti, Nechama. The Rochav is where it's first revealed.
Could you use the word revealed?
Yeah.
I remember once Mueller was saying there was something about if you can't use the word revealed in Chachma. It was like a sticky point there that it was like tricky.
Okay. So
Shefa is flow, is that correct? So if Shefa is flow, then Shefa is a revelation. Like the flow of the river is a revelation.
okay, but Nechama, we talk about Chochmah. We're not talking about a river at this point.
But the word, so I mean, I think I copied this. Rochav is the body of flow of revealed intellect from the source.
Okay, but now say it in your own words. What does that mean to you?
It means that the energy of Chachma can, again, with the flow, it can go somewhere. It can come down. It's kind of getting ready to come down to connect with Bina.
No, that's the Orach of Chochmah. Rochav of Chochmah is not yet moving towards Bina.
Wait, what is it? This is, are we Orach or Rochav?
Rochav means the width.
Okay, what was your question? Because I might have answered the wrong question.
Okay, no, you read to me from the text, but I didn't feel like you understood for yourself.
Okay. So you asked about Rochav. You asked about the width.
Yes. What's the Rochav?
I don't know, because I'm getting because the word flow isn't there. I'm thinking of it as something that's moving, just like the river.
Okay.
Would it be correct to say that if Omek of Chokhmah is Bitul, you don't really get it yet? You're just trying to get, yeah, I'm going back to Omek. If we're saying that Omek is Bitul, you're trying to get it from Rochav Maskil. So Rochav of Chokhmah is when it's you have a more of a grasp of it. Would that be correct?
So
You have a what? Sarah,
yes, you have more of a grasp on it. Okay. So
no, 1 second. I think that the Omek is making a kli and a vessel for the flow to come.
okay, look, I'm gonna try and clarify this. It's
And,
good.
and 1 second, and before you say, so the Reichav, hope I lost it. I lost it. Okay, it's the actual flow.
Rochav is the beginning of the flow. It's the easiest way to explain it. He gives two mashalim for the Rochav. The first is the easiest. The Rochav is Barak HaMavrik.
Right.
The Rochav is the Barak HaMavrik. It's the flash. We all know it. It's not difficult. The Rochav is where you get the flash of inspiration.
But a flash is so flimsy and unformed.
Yes, that's Chokhmah.
But that is another stage which you actually can call it flow and not just flash.
Okay.
Yeah, so flow doesn't sound right.
Right.
The flow is more in the orech, probably.
Right.
No,
That's what.
No, he says here, but the width is the actual flow of the seichel from its source.
Yes. So flow in that sense doesn't mean like the flow can be relative. There's the flowing of the river, or there's the movement. Flow is movement. So it's
okay. It's a flashy type of flow.
Right. It's the moment that the water hits the surface of the ground and you can see it and it's a spring. That's the spring, is the Rochav.
So it's differentiating from the spring and it's just there.
It's the moment that to use the analogy, it's the moment that the water that was underground becomes visible.
So would you say it bubbles up?
Yeah,
Mm.
it bubbles up. You can see it, it's above the ground. Before it's below the ground, it's hidden. It's now in Rochav, it's no longer hidden. It's like that, it becomes revealed in Chochmah. Now, whether you want to say problem with revealed, it becomes, it's that flash, it flashes into Chochmah. It's the lightning flash. Now,
So really, it's an amorphous flow.
no, it's the first place where you can say, I saw something, I got it. It's a flash of what's, in the comic books, they used to put like a little light bulb on top of a person's head. We're like, oh, I get it. Like
No,
some
I
flash.
feel more than I get it, and more like it's coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm onto something.
Okay, so that's different. Here we're talking about, did you ever really work hard on something and you saw it, like you see it in a flash, just like a flash of lightning that lights up the whole landscape, but then it goes dark again very quickly unless you hold on to it. You have a flash of insight. You never had a flash of insight. So it is a bit amorphous, but it's very clear, but it's very short. So unless you then bring it down and bring it into Bina, it'll go away. But the place where it flashes in, that is the Rochav of Chochmah.
So then is the Orech now, what do I do with this?
So the Orech is when you start to bring it down and create, it's the beginning of creating explanations for it in order to move it over to Bina.
But
So Orech is always bringing it down.
as I see it, also the Eirech it's not really substantial on its own. All it's doing is it's actually bringing it to the next level of Bina.
So that's what the Orech always does. It's useful when you think of the Orech of Bina, which is like a river, it draws it down. That's the long nun, right? It's drawing it down to the next level, to the next place, to a person. It's drawing it down. That's the length, like the length of a river. It draws it to far away. So that's the nature of Orech, is to bring it down to the next level.
And it talks about it as a power. There's a power that Chachma has. It's a power. It's not a whole brain map discussion. It bring it down so that it can be enclosed, be mislabish into Bina, and there it's going to start mapping out.
Yes. So it's moving towards Bina. The Orech of Chochmah is it's starting to create explanations, and then those explanations will manifest in Bina.
So really, when we say Chachma, we're really saying Koyach HaChachma. Because it's not an actual whole discussion taking place there, but it's a Koyach of Chachma, that facility that it can take that idea that it's picked up above Chachma and bring it down to where Bina will develop.
Not just, I'm wondering so does action come into place after Das?
So
We didn't get to Das yet.
No, let's stay where we are. I want you to just look at definition, general definition of oimek, rochav, and orech of anything. Is the oimek is that transition, that place of transition. It's an ayin. It's transitioning from one thing to another. It's receiving from a higher level. The rochav is how it's widening out, the thing itself. And the orech is how it's moving down to the next level. That's all it is.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I have it very simplified. I'm probably completely off, and I'm not as brilliant as everybody on this call. I've always understood it to be, where does it come from? What is it? And what are you going to do with it? That's probably crazy oversimplified, and I got it completely wrong.
Well, first of all, it's a very good simplification, but my concern is why do you have to have an introduction and an epilogue that denies that? But we won't discuss that now.
Okay, but
Maria,
tell me
that
about
was
the right-
really, really very good, Maria. I hand it to you.
No, because I completely lost every explanations there, so my mind doesn't grasp them all. So I need it very simple. So I always simplify things for myself.
That's
for
going to be your
myself, is-
Yagia. Your
Yes.
Yagia is going to be to
Yeah.
simplify for
No, no,
yourself.
That's what happens with
Right.
Yigi, you get it all simplified, and that's what I'm trying to say here. So it's very useful. The oimek is that
Is my-
place, where does it come from? What is it, the rochav? And orech, where is it going? Like, what are you doing with it? That's a nice simplification. I like that. Thank you.
Saratova, your brilliance is that you're very practical, which is a useful midah.
Right. True.
Okay,
just
great.
how do you compare it to home?
Well, you know, you need to be able to do all of it. Anything you're working on, and I'll use music as an example. You have to be able to break the music down, see which signature it's from, what family it's from, what is the main flow in this stanza here, in this brackets, whatever you call it, the measure. So yeah, you need all parts of it for it to be acclimated.
Or we need a committee with all of those attributes in every person, because I don't think most of us have all of those things together.
Right. Each one adds something very good.
I just like to put it in a visual. If somebody walks into your house and says, "Look what I bought," and you're going to ask 3 questions: Where did you get this? What exactly is this thing? And what are you planning to do with it? Those are the only 3 questions. Look at it. What is it, and what are you going to do with it?
Right.
It really answers all the questions. Yeah.
Okay.
But interesting is, in the second level, I found that paragraph for the first level and the second level. The second level is only attained, say, through Yagia. And the Yagia takes place where? Not there. It's taking place lower.
Right. So Gitti, you're jumping ahead a little bit. I don't know where you're looking at
No,
it.
but you mentioned the 2 levels, right? You said
Yeah,
one is the flash, one is the flow.
no, the flow was misleading as a word.
Oh, it is, okay.
It's a little bit, I was saying that it flowed in that context just means not flow like the flow of a river, but movement from one thing to another.
It's facilitating movement, okay.
So we don't have a lot of time left. I just want to really, solidify this in people's mind. We're talking about, this process, the 3 stages in Chochmah and the 3 stages in Bina. And here we have these 3 stages, Oimek, Rochav, and Orech. And as Saratova described very beautifully, the Oimek is, where does it come from? Like, it's that transition place. The Rochav is the thing itself, and the Orech is where it's moving towards.
Very good. Yes, thank you.
So now, when you think of Chochmah, the Oimek is, where is it coming from? Where is it coming from?
Hamaskil.
Hamaskil. Rochav is the thing itself. It reveals itself. It's
the lower, it lowers it.
Okay, it's the thing, of course it's lower, but it's the
No,
thing.
it lowers the thing.
No, that's Oirech. Rochav is the thing.
What did you say?
Rochav is the thing itself.
Sorry.
What is the Rochav? Rochav, in this case, I think is best described by the flash, the Baraka Maverick. That's
the power to move it down.
That's Orech. Where is it going? Orech is where it's going.
Oh, wait, one second.
Chochmah is not moving.
1 second.
Rochav is not moving. Rochav is widening.
Not at all moving. 1 second.
No. If it's moving, it's broad. It's not moving to the next thing.
So what does the widening entail in it then?
So in this case, because it's chokhmah, it's just, a better way to say it is it's the thing itself. It's the chokhmah itself. And we need to move on. If you don't understand,
Fine, that was helpful. No, that was helpful.
it's like the flash of insight. You see it, you get the whole picture, but it can go away very easily. You bring it into orech, and the orech is moving towards, the orech of chokhmah begins to move towards what?
The bina.
Bina, which is explanations.
One second, I just had a flash. Remember how you discussed all the like the process in Tvuna, how there's the upper and there's a lower, and then there's the transition between the upper and the lower. So I'm seeing now that the Chachma is bringing from the upper, and the Oirech is bringing to the lower.
The oimek is from the upper, and the orech is to the lower.
Yeah.
And that's why we said that the orech is rooted in the oimek, meaning you can bring it further down if you're more deeply rooted in the oimek. Those two are very connected. That's a detail. Let's move on. Now, if you use that same formula for Bina, what is the oimek of Bina? Where's it coming from? It's coming into Bina from?
That was coming from the last station on the train.
Which is
Oirech of Chachma.
pretty much, yeah. And
But you skipped Oimek.
no, that is oimek. I said, what is oimek of Bina? Where's it? What is it transitioning between? Okay.
It's a liminal space between where you're coming
Between
from.
the Orech of Chachma and something, it's coming from the Orech of Chachma?
Yeah.
So it's really a union of the one where it's coming from and where it's going to.
Right. And of course, here we're skipping out between those two, you need a makaset, you need das. Because wherever there's oimek, you need a das to make the connection.
Hamakas hadas?
The makaset.
So
Yes.
Hamakas Hadas hangs out in the corner. Is that?
You know, okay. The Racha of Bina is like the width of the river. What is it?
Where are we? I'm the Reicha Rabina.
The Racha of Bina, you know, in the definition that we gave is, what is it? Oimek is, where does it come from? Racha
Out
is
and ICAs.
and what else?
Field. Yes.
Yeah, Bina is a yesh, but what is the yesh? The otiot or the yesh? It's explanation.
Detailed explanations and
Yeah, it's all of that. Then what is the orech of Bina? Where is it going to? What are you doing with it?
so it's drawing them out further.
Yeah.
Anybody can understand.
It's teaching it to a 5-year-old. I don't know.
Right.
It's Rashi.
Well, okay, it's also,
Our 5-year-old should be so smart.
they actually usually are. They ask Rashi's questions. They don't know the answer, but they'll always see what they ask Rashi's questions. That's what I've discovered. Anyway, the orech of Bina is also mashalim.
Correct.
Iyun. Okay, sorry, exactly. Orech of Bina is where the mashpia lands and where the makabel begins. The orech of Bina is the Bina of Bina. That's where you begin the Iyun process.
The Iyun is Bina of Bina, yeah.
Yeah, and that's where you begin the Yegia. That's where the Yegia starts, over here. So you have, oh no, that's not the image that I wanted. Where was the other image? Okay, the image that we looked at, up, down, up. That's basically what I was going to ask you to describe. And the Eon is basically, let me see if I can get that image again. No, that's not it. I'll stop sharing and find this image. So now we should really be familiar with there I go, 1 minute. No, my computer's freezing. Let's wait 1 sec.
One thing I see, if we grasp this ideas, and in it is also the koyach of the chachma, of that initial essential point, and we will be greatly enlivened. So now don't pick off my chair. I'm going to know that I have that inside.
Okay, so you see here what I'm sharing, the teacher's, the mashpia's journey and the student's journey.
Can't really see it on the small screen.
Okay,
To actually see it, yeah.
You can make it bigger.
that says as big as I can make
Yeah,
it.
that's fine. No, leave
No,
it.
I'm on my phone. I'm able to make it bigger.
Yeah, sometimes when I expand, I lose everything, but here I can move back and forth, yes.
Basically, you see that the teacher starts with Maimek, goes to Korkamaskil, Oimek of Chochma, Rochav of Chochma, Orech of Chochma, Hamakasadas, Oimek of Bina, or Oimek of Musag, then the Rochav of Bina, and then goes down to the Orech of Bina. That's the Iwan.
Which one were you looking at, the student or the teacher?
The teacher, the Mashpia. That's up to down.
Because the Koyach HaMaskil and the Maimik, we ended up putting them side by side.
Yeah. So in this one, we decided to put, to put it like the Maimek activates the Koach HaMaskil. So they're in the same place, but the Maimek,
Wait a minute. The Maimik activates the Koyach HaMaskil, so it should be reverse order because then it manipulated Koyach HaMaskil. Then it's
no, I think this is correct. The Maimek activates the Koach HaMaskil to then give Shefa to the Oimek of Chochma, and actually
So the Mimic is the catalyst.
right.
That's its role.
Right. That's yeah. So this process is something that you should know.
Oh, wait. So for the teacher, the Maimik is on top. Yeah. Oh, I get it.
It's the Maimek.
But wait, the student is still going from the top in this chart, even though it says down to up.
Yeah. It's a little bit incorrect.
Why? What's the matter? Why? What's the problem?
Like it?
No,
It's down to up meaning, whatever. It's a little bit confusing. So the student starts with the Orech of Bina.
I mean, each one is starting at the top of the chart, the way you laid it out.
Yeah, because we could have done the same thing, and just here on this one, you could say, okay, the student starts at the bottom, which is Orech of Bina, and climbs
Just the
up.
reverse, exactly.
We just do the reverse, so we just
And you know what? It might be a little clearer if you just put numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then.
So, there are different ways that you can do this. You can do like a flow chart and just do arrows.
Actually, no, I'm still confused. Koyach HaMaskil why is Koyach HaMaskil not the last on this list?
Well, they basically, the Maimek and Koach HaMaskil is, they within each other. But in terms of, what starts the process is Maimek. So that's why we put it here.
How does a Maimek look by the teacher? What does it look like?
It's the dat of the teacher. Maimek is an aspect of dat. And so dat is always his kashrus. What it actually, what that feels like. That's a good question, because I don't know if I've ever touched that. So I
What
wouldn't.
feels like you're asking?
Yeah,
Well,
what does it look like? What does it feel like by the
Like, what does
teacher?
it feel like? Let me just think a moment. What do we know about mimic that we could relate to it? It's such a high level.
It's coming from your heart.
The mimic. No, I don't know. I don't know if it. It's a good question, Sarah. I'm not sure that I can answer that.
When you ask me, what does it feel like?
What is it? I like a description of it, but
Yeah, what's the
just
quality?
wondering. But maybe it is just like by a person going by himself into that level. I don't know how, and then bringing it down to the student. I'm just wondering. Maybe my question is
You're asking about mimic, right?
mimic of the teacher.
Right.
Is it like a
Of
higher?
the teacher, but of the student, being that mimic was an activator for the teacher, for the student, it comes last. So it seemed like it would have a different role.
It's all coming from.
Is a mimic a deep? I'm sorry, you asked a question. I'm coming up with another question, so that's not right.
And how is mimic related to Eon? One's at the beginning, one's at the end.
Can I just add my question on top of yours, not your stance? Is mimic a deeper form or higher, more exalted level of das? Like we went all the way up and now you're in a higher league, but it's das on a higher level?
Let me just answer I was just trying to see in the text. I don't want to make things up. So this is what I can tell you. Very early on, when he was describing chush, what is chush? He said that basically das is rooted in chush. And what he was describing there was ma'amik, actually. He just gave us the words for it later. So ma'amik is that root of das that is connected to the ratzon and the chush. And I would say that's part of the description of ma'amik. But now, Sarah, from your question, it makes me realize that I need to go back and have a look at, that paragraph that he spoke about mimic and see what he tells us that gives us a hint to say, well, what is that experience? What is the experience of mimic? Kitty, one moment. One of the things that he says that's important is that it's in the active form, maf'il. You say maf'il or you say mapil? I'm not sure.
Maf'il.
Meaning it's active. You have to do it actively, and that the mind activates something. And so you can also say that it's the mashpia is doing something active in order to bring something from koach hamaskil. It's not something that happens on its own.
So das can be used as a state. Mamic is a verb.
Mm-hmm. So if mimic is at the end of the process here for the student, or maybe this is not the end, it seems like something would come after it.
So, this was, so then he went off into talking about Ratzon and Bina Liba and such like. So yes, it's never, this is just part of, he has to show us parts of the picture in order to go to then expand it. But if you don't remember this part of the picture, then the expansion of it is very confusing. So that's why the first 14 paragraphs, he gives us this picture. and says, okay, know this picture really well. And he even does a summary of it. And, you know, what somebody asked, like, what is Iyun? And he wants to tell you, he says, Iyun is this Orech of Bina, and it'll take you to the Roch of Bina and even to the Oimek of Bina. But that's as far as Iyun will take you. Then something else happens where the Hamakas Adas kicks in and connects to the Oimek of Bina to the Orech of Chochmah and takes you into this other world. So the Iyun process is the lowest part of Bina, the most external part, which is what we're doing now. You're just dealing with words and concepts and analogies and trying to understand the pshat. And the more you put in effort to do that, then you will suddenly get to the Rochav of Bina, where you'll begin to understand it from many different perspectives.
So would you say the overall picture is more circular than linear?
So we're trying to present it to you in a linear way, just to give you access to it. Once you have it in a linear way, then you can begin to see it in much more complex ways. It's really outside in or inside out, like that you're moving from the external part of Bina to the depth of Bina, to the inside, up and down, or outside and inside are just two different ways in Chassidus of understanding pnimiut or chitzoniut. So we're talking about here, you know, so if you can, everybody's brain is different, but at least to understand it in a linear way. If you don't understand it in the linear way, you know, how are you going to understand it in the more circular way? Because of course it's circular, you know, our bodies don't function in a linear way. But you have to learn, you know, if you're a medical student, you have to learn about all the systems individually, and then you learn how they work together. You can't learn how they work together until you know what they are. So he's trying to tell you, like, these are the different, you know, these are different components. Now, once you know what the different components are, we can put them together and see how they work. And then I can broaden the picture and broaden the picture. But if you don't know the different parts of the skeletal system, we can't move on to the nervous system, because you don't know the basic structure of the human body. So this is the very basic outline. Let's see, there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 concepts. That's it.
Okay, so it's obviously three-dimensional, which we can see, but okay.
You know,
Yeah.
he says,
I mean, when I said circular, I think more now of a sphere, because it has all those dimensions.
What happens is, look, you start off at the Orech of Bina, and it's one-dimensional. Rochav of Bina, it broadens out, it becomes 2 dimensions. Once you get to the Oimek, you go into 3 dimensions. You begin to understand in a completely different way.
Well, is it 3 or more dimensions? I mean, there may be more dimensions than 3.
Exactly. So then you transition into, you know, multi-dimensional.
you mean like 3D?
Yeah, at least you know at least 3 dimensions. We live in a 3-dimensional world.
Right.
But there are many more dimensions. So as you go into Chochmah, you're going into, I want to say, like a place beyond dimension. Even though there are 3 dimensions there, you're transitioning outside of like a yesh. You know, I mean, these are just terms. You have to go there, and then you'll
You know, but also when we talked before about Hamakas Adas and Maimek, he says Hamakas Adas is deepening your das to connect to the Chachma and Bina, which are 2 sides of you. You're in the middle. It's like a butterfly. You have the butterfly, the live part in the middle, then you have on the 2 sides, you have these 2 wings. So it's something like that. But in contrast, it says Maimek is activating to bring the Oimek of Chachma and Bina up to the Koyach HaMaskil. So that's when you said before that Taka, the Maimek is the activator, and the Maimek and the Makadas is the deepener of the connection of the attachment of these two right and left parts.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I think that's it. We went over time, or maybe we started late. So
I found it so satisfying today.
This was a nice breakout room.
This was so good.
Yes.
Now the thing is, try to go and do some iyun just on this, so that you don't forget it. This is the basic. It's really basic.
I feel something so alive, like because of these little differentiations that you made, and your new understandings that I didn't really have. Like compare and contrast is a very good way to understand things, to get a framework of it. And I'm kind of was like a little murky about things that I feel much more of a handle on it.
Okay, great. So, I hope that this can be like a springboard for you to go and look, even if you just read, I have the translation of paragraph 13, and by the end of the week, I think I'll have 14. And basically that's this whole section. It's not that hard to read it in English with the Hebrew terminology. It's really not that hard. I mean, sometimes it gets a little bit wordy because I'm trying to stick to the exact phrasing. Sometimes it can be confusing, but if you do some iyun into, this English text with the Hebrew, and now that you have some idea of this, and go and have a look, there are images on the Google Drive. I'll put this one up as well. I don't think it's that hard to really remember it, and to engrave it, to have tvuna into it, to know it, to say, I get it. There's this brain, right brain, left brain, koach hamaskil, 3 stages in chokhmah, 3 stages in bina, connecting, those 3 worlds. And I can know that. I can know it well enough to be able to teach it to somebody else. First of all, teach it to myself. And then you have a foundation to work with. And it's quite a beautiful foundation, it's like just to know this.
You did a fantastic job on translation. I was working exclusively from this translation now, and it's so accessible, and yet it uses the Hebrew terminology. You did a really good job.
So that's, I discovered this for myself, basically, in my own iyun. That's what I needed, was I needed the English, but I needed the Hebrew terminology. So wherever I think it's important to have the Hebrew terminology, I, put it there. So, it's Rat Hashem.
Maria, I've envisioned the book that you're going to publish from all this.
The truth is, like, I'm wondering.
It's really needed.
But this is realer than a book.
No, you can't do it in a book. You see how we've been doing it for 2 years.
Well, I print it all out, so I have my own little book. And by the way, I just wanted to mention that I may not be the only one that has trouble with Google Drive, but when you post it on the WhatsApp, then I can print it from there, regardless of what's going on with Google.
Google, if you want to print it, it downloads it onto your computer before it prints it.
I have to figure out how to use it. But
it was just, there's a point that I located. I'm so happy I did, because on page 2, which is, I don't know, paragraph what, he says something about the seichel shebemidas, and how did he bring it in over here? Yeah, Seichel Shabasiya and Seichel Shabamidas. But this is something that came up much later with chapter 2, with the whole concept of Tvuna, right?
Right. And now that you're looking at chapter 1, you'll see that in chapter 2, he refers you back to chapter 1 because he uses that exact same example.
Uh-huh.
It's a cross-reference.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And this is the same as Seichel Shabasiya, Seichel Shabamidas.
No, so Seichel of Asiya was the house, and the Seichel of the Midos was the Talmudic discussion.
Oh, what's the Tov and Ra? Yeah.
Is it yes, the Chesed and the Gevura, meaning yes, it's permitted, or Gevura, no, it's not.
Okay, I'm glad I found that, because I kept wanting to ask you. But you know what I would love to do meditation on, like you and on, is where I talked about the Hamakas Hadas connecting the point of each one, the point of Chachma, which is Haskalah, and the point of Bina, which is Havana, and attaching them to make them one. That I don't know what to do with that, but that sounds like pretty fascinating.
Look, the main thing is the Eon process is more, we've done it a couple times before, but not recently, because in order to really do that kind of meditative process, which is called, like it's called gazing, histaklut, you have to know it very well. Like you first have to go through the Orech of Bina and kind of get into the Rochav of Bina and know it well. And then you can begin to meditate on it. Because the meditation takes place with your eyes closed. And so you're just playing it in your head. But if you don't have what to work with, then the meditation doesn't work.
So can you not use an idea from a mimer and do this process on an idea of a mimer?
You can do meditation on many processes, but the Eon process and the Histaklut, the real meditation that takes place here, the Hitbonanut, is once it's like, I think of it as a computer. You input the information, and then the computer can work with the information. But until you've inputted it, it can't read that's like your computer, your head, your brain is a computer. You have to input the information, and then it starts like here, you start to get interested in it. You have questions, you start to make connections. And so that's kind of like the Rochav. And you're looking at it from different angles and thinking about what it is, what it isn't. And then there's a deeper place where you just kind of stare at it. You have to have something to stare at. Do you know what I'm saying? I guess it's hard unless we actually do an example. And we did it really on the Omek paragraph because that was easy to do it on. It's easy to remember. But maybe we should take another paragraph and do this process.
The question, if you're meditating on it and you're closing your eyes, so you have it in your mind, is there an image of the words or something else, or the picture, or what image do you hold?
It's not, it's not so much an image. For some people, it could be an image. Like you could do a meditation on Bina and the river, and then you have an image to work with. But it's more, I think of the Histaklut more as just once you put it into your mind and you know it well, then you just like let it work and see what comes up. That's the meditative process. It's not so much a guided meditation. It's more that here you've put all the information in, and now you let it you just sit with it, and then things start to happen. It could be an image. It could be like suddenly, a question. You don't know. You don't know what's going to come up. That's once you've put all the information into your computer. It's like putting it into AI. You don't know what's going to come up, right? It could be an image, another image, or it could be words, or It really depends. Each person, it'll be different.
I think that
It also becomes like an experience. You feel it in your body. It becomes, you go into Chokhmah, so there's a Marrakesh, you Marrakesh something, you feel something. It's not just an idea anymore. You're going beyond the letters into sensing the thing itself.
I guess that's why we've been doing this for 2 years, because it sounds to me like it takes a lot of input to get to that point where you can just really sit with it in an experiential way. It's not just, the kind of what they call spit back, just.
Yeah, I think also we've been doing it for 2 years because, look, you can just, Nechama, right this week, anytime, you can take one paragraph, even the first paragraph, and learn it really well, and then just sit and think about it. There's so much in that first paragraph. Somebody that I'm teaching it to now, I've started, a group just of people in Israel, and this woman, she writes to me, she says, I'm in the train station in Tel Aviv, going from here to there, and I'm thinking about the inner dimension of hearing. Because recently I just took them back to paragraph 1, where it talks about that. And that's what happens. You just start to think about it, when you're doing other things.
And that's for sure. But I think if you're going to sit down and do this exercise / activity of really glazing at something,
Gazing.
it have to be prefaced with a hachana of actually looking at something and really toiling at, something that really brings you into a level of heightened focus. Not just, oh, let's do it now. If you have this hachana, you look at it and say, okay, let me struggle to read this and to, and then, okay, right?
That's why I say take it with a short paragraph.
Right.
And, like you say, there's that preparation and you have to get connected. That's the das. You have to get connected to it. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. You have to be able to get into it, use your pen and paper, write, this idea then becomes that idea, goes to this idea, and then teach it to yourself with your eyes closed so to see, okay, I know all the ideas in this paragraph. And then just, sit and meditate on it, like just see what comes up.
How long?
What?
How long does this glazing last?
Gazing, not glazing. Gazing.
Oh, I think the whole time I'm thinking that word is not a word, but it's reminding me of a word. Oh, it's glazing.
No, glazing is like you do
I
the
know,
pottery.
I don't know. I'm
Make it shiny.
glazing.
It's stuck.
I didn't know what. Thank you. Okay. Gazing, glazing.
Is that
It's
histaklut?
Histaklut.
I know.
But first you have to do the iyun before you can look at it.
How long do you gaze at something then after that? 5
Yeah.
minutes?
Giti, if you're already asking how long it takes, then it's a problem. You have to, because how long is the iyun going to take you? How long is it going to take you to take one short paragraph and know it well? I don't know.
I'm wondering in your activities, how long did you allocate for something like that?
I didn't allocate, but here's the thing. Once you know it, you can do it for 10 minutes before davening. And that 10 minutes will feel like a long time because so
we do this on our own. We're not going to do this in the session, you're saying?
No, I'm suggesting that you try it on your own.
Oh, yeah. Can I tell you a joke? There's I thought.
That's all I want to hear. If you get what I'm saying,
yes. I'm giving you an example of there was a chassid that learned to be an ovid. He was a yekeh. And so he learning how to be meditating on echad, which is very appropriate to our discussion here. And so now he did this, and then he reports to the Rebbe. And I don't know what this German word is, but he did it post a minute, like he timed it. It took a minute, and that kind of defeated the whole purpose. It was the biggest. It's a conundrum.
Right. Because I think when you do it, you're in a place you're beyond time. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. And he's like timing himself. That was the biggest joke. You did not get there.
Yeah,
It's
if you
like timing
yeah.
is like how many points do I get for doing it for 60 seconds, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But on the other hand, the reason I say that you can do it like 10 minutes a day, but you have to have what to meditate on. So you have to have done the work to know it well. And that's what I would do more recently. It was like I would take a paragraph that we would be learning that week, and I would learn it very well, and then sit for 10 minutes and just think about it.
I think I would have to learn Pashas Pinchas, Devar Malchus Nun Aleph, to get me into the presence mode that I could actually sit with something for 10 minutes on my own. That's a big challenge.
So
Well,
Gita,
at least you know what you have to do to get there.
what I'm suggesting is you forget, like as soon as you say, it's over there, then you're not going to do it. Take one short paragraph 1, or the paragraph on Omek, which is they're very short paragraphs and easy, and just decide you're going to spend half an hour or whatever learning it well and writing it up. These are the main ideas, and then see what happens. That's the Hitbonenut process. Everything else is just begirsa, like we learning quickly, we gazing at things.
Everything else is just what?
It's in the Talmud, it's
Girsa.
called
Girsa.
begirsa.
Girsa. Oh, Girsa, as opposed to. Yeah.
Does that kind of mean superficial?
Yeah, and you need to learn things begirsa, but you're supposed to learn something be'iyun, and try it. It's very different. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much.
The truth is, here's something that I will maybe suggest. I'm going to be going to America in about a month. And not initially when I'm there, but I was thinking that really, and it's something that I should have done a while back, is to really offer to do some one-on-one work with everybody. People want to, if you're starting to work, or to help you if you want to learn this text, to talk to you about it, to see where you're stuck, why it's not happening, to do like really either very small groups here and there, not like on an ongoing basis, but like meet with everybody one time to see where you are, what the problem is, or what the opposite of the problem is.
Will you be coming up north?
No, we're in Florida.
I think the whole world seems to be, I used to think that New York was the center of the universe. Now it seems to be Florida.
Okay, I'm going to